So around 15, 16 years ago, my parents went to the United States of America to visit some family of ours. Yeah, they live in Glendale. No fucking surprises there. So they're there and my aunt says to my mum, yeah, let me get the boys something nice for you to take back as a gift, okay? It's the best accent I can do. And my mum's like, yeah, so Raff really likes perfumes. Like, we were worried there for a while, but he's married with kids now, so it's all good. He still dresses a bit fruity. My mum's a savage, by the way, so let's just say you don't want her at your roast. Love you, Mum. Anyway, my folks get back and I'm gifted with a 125ml bottle of Armani Code, the original one, the Eau de Toilette. I'm thankful, publicly. But on the inside, I'm like, this is really not my thing anymore. I'm a dad now, and this is a young guy's scent. And this was also around the time I was falling madly in love with, fragrances that I'd hated for most of my life. Like Azzaro Pour Homme and Dior's Eau Sauvage. I hated that shit, but I was starting to fall in love with them. And all those types of classics. So I hardly ever wore the Armani. One day, I don't know, maybe I was feeling young that day, or maybe I felt this misguided sense of, man, if I don't wear this, my auntie's going to be really upset. So I was like, yeah, Raph, stop overthinking it and let's go. So I sprayed on a full wearing and I head to the office, because that's what you did back then every day. I had a meeting with the young girl who handled the loyalty program for the company I worked for. So we're sitting there in the meeting room and she says, Is that Armani Code? And I'm like, yeah. And she says, yeah, my ex used to wear that. That was not a great meeting. I sold that bottle soon after, not because of the incident, but because I never wanted to wear it in the first place. It wasn't me. It wasn't what I was into, and I gave it a shot and it bit me in the ass. But ever since then, that incident has left me with a thought that's been playing in my mind, which is, you smell like someone else's memory. Theme song. So imagine this. You walked past someone today, or maybe not if you're terminally online, but if you're semi-normal, you walked past someone today. Maybe in a lift, a shop, a street, it doesn't matter where. Okay. And something happened to them. Not because of anything you said, not because of how you looked, because of how you smelled. Something old came up in them, fast, before they could stop it, before they even knew what it was. A feeling arrived without a reason attached to it. Meanwhile, you just kept on walking, completely oblivious. You have no idea. Here's why it works like that. Every sense you have, sight, hearing, touch, all of that shit sends signals through a filter, which is a part of your brain called the thalamus. And that's kind of like a sorting station which processes information before emotion gets involved. Smell is different. Scents bypass the thalamus entirely and they go straight to the olfactory bulb, which connects directly to the amygdala and the hippocampus. And these are the parts of the brain that handle emotion and memory. The sniff test, no filter, no delay, no logic checkpoint. Feelings leak out before you know why. Every other sense has to get past the bouncer. Smell just walks straight in. This is why a scent can hit you like a physical thing. Why you can be completely fine and then catch something in the air and be somewhere else entirely. A kitchen, a car, a person. Before your brain even has a chance to say, wait, what just happened? Odor-triggered memories are more emotional than memories from any other sense. They go further back in time. They're more raw. They're less processed. They feel more real because they arrive through a different door. Marcel Proust, who, if you don't know who that is, you should Google him. Awesome author. He figured this out in 1913. He dipped a cake into tea. He dipped a small cake into tea. And then the smell hit him, and suddenly 30 years of his childhood, people, rooms, light, feelings that he thought were gone, they came back and they were all fully intact. And then he ended up writing a 7-volume book series about it. The fragrance community has been less verbose, but no less obsessed. And the thing I can't stop thinking about is the asymmetry of it all. You chose your fragrance, you put it on, and you went about your day. But somewhere in that day, in a room you passed through, someone got hit with something they didn't choose. a smell that belongs to someone else in their life. It could be a dead parent. It could be an ex, a house that they grew up in, a version of themselves from 20 years ago. The smell isn't yours when it's in their nose. And it never was. It belongs to whoever it reminds them of. You are wearing a fragrance. They are briefly and involuntarily standing in a room that no longer exists with a person who may no longer be alive, while you're casually checking your phone, completely oblivious. The scale of this is hard to get your head around. Every day, every person wearing fragrance, every lift, every office, every street, silent, invisible, constant. An entire network of triggered memories that nobody tracks, nobody acknowledges, and it just happens, and then it's over, and both people go home, and neither one knows the other exists. You've been doing this your whole life, and people have been doing this to you. Right now, somewhere, someone is wearing something that belongs to you, something wired to a specific moment in your life, and they have no idea what they're carrying. There's a dark version of this and a beautiful version, and I think that they're both the same version. The dark version is that you may have undone someone on a Thursday afternoon, someone who was, holding it together, someone who had made it through a really tough week, and then they got in a lift with you, and then something broke open, and then they spent the rest of the afternoon not quite knowing why they felt the way they felt. Meanwhile, you casually got out on the third floor, completely oblivious. The beautiful one is that you might have given someone 30 seconds with their dead mother, because that's exactly what they smelled like, with a person that they loved and lost, and they've been trying to remember clearly ever since that day. And for 30 seconds before the logic caught up, that person was just there. They were present and they were real because it's chemically encoded and intact and as close as they're going to get ever again. Meanwhile, you casually kept walking, completely oblivious. Both of those are the same walk. That's why I think they're both the same version. Now, I don't know what you're supposed to do with this. I don't think there's anything that you're supposed to do with this. You can't know what you're carrying for other people. You can't know which rooms your fragrance unlocks or what's inside them. You just walk around with a set of keys that don't belong to you, opening doors you'll never see the inside of. The only thing I'll say is this: the fragrance you choose matters more than you think. Not because of performance or projection or longevity or how many panties it'll drop, but because somewhere out there, it already means something to someone. It was theirs before it was yours. You just don't know whose.